In the name of Ahmenic is supreme, the all-powerful, the one and only true law and order. The real, and Amen we trust as the Republican intellect. The real 144,000 is being gathered in this day and time, the mentalists. MENKARAYZZ to all of my mentalist brothers and sisters out here, registered members of the Republican Intellect, and to all future mentalists who get to find their way home to the Republican Intellect, which is Ahmenic community. I send greetings out to you, and I send peace out to you in our Ahmenic language by saying to you, MENKARAYZZ. Good evening, I'm your host, the intellectual leader, MENKARAYZZ, and this is Intellect Radio, and tonight we're going to be discussing Ahmenic energy versus atomic energy. Let's first take a look at what your so-called scientists say about the atom, all right? I touched on this before, but I'm going to get more in depth with this tonight. An atom is the smallest constituent unit of ordinary matter. Ordinary matter. Look how it's starting off already. Ordinary matter. I want you to keep that in mind, what they said out of their own mouth. Unit of ordinary matter that constitutes a chemical element. Every solid, liquid, gas, and plasma is composed of neutral ionized atoms. Neutral, meaning in one set space. Because whenever they show you a picture of an atom, it's always centralized, and you always see like streams of energy and whatnot going around like you might see in the picture. We'll keep reading because I find it to be very interesting. They telling on themselves. Atoms are extremely small. Typical size are 100 pixelmeters. Right? Well, notice I'm gonna show you they use the 1 and the 0 constantly in the description of this. 1 times 10 millionth of a millimeter, right? 254,000 in an inch. They are so small and accurately predicting their behavior, and they are so small that accurately predicting their behavior using classical physics as if they were billiard balls, for example, is not possible. This is due to the quantum effect. Current atomic models use the quantum principles to better explain. Current atomic models use the quantum principles to better explain the and predict its behavior. Okay, so let me stop you right there. First and foremost, they tell you that the behavior can be predicted. And those of you who've heard what the scientists have said about constantly going into the atom and going deeper into the atom, and they get deep. Every time they go in, they keep splitting the atom. They keep finding more energy fields within the atom, beneath the atom, they say. Like they go from atom, the quarks, the Z, the biaps, the Zels, all of these names they're giving it. But they're finding more and more, sources in which it's built on, all right? It's finding more and more sources in which it's built on because it is dealing with matter, okay? It is, hold on. Every atom is composed of a nucleus and one or more electrons bound to the nucleus. The nucleus is made of one or more protons and a number of neutrons. Now, I'm going to stop for a second. In the description of what I gave about what they say an atom is that makes up, people, place, and possession, right? What you notice about that is, in the description, they're telling you about elements that are put together. If you listen to the description of how they're saying it, the way they're describing it, your scientists are describing it, is this is put together. Another word is saying created. But ask yourself, who put this together? Who put these atoms together, right, to make themselves seen in the material world? Who created these stationary atoms? And if they were a creation, what power was before the stationary atom? What power came before the stationary atom if the atom had to be made stationary, right? Let me see. Constitutes a chemical element. Every solid, liquid, gas, and plasma, right, is composed of ionized atoms, right? So they're basically saying that these things are composed, meaning put together, right? Created. What comes before that, right? You can't say that these things just came together. Things don't just fit together just like that in a perfect setting. They don't fit together like that. It takes intelligence to put these things together, to put these compounds together, to produce these chemical compounds, right? It takes intelligence to do this. So if it took intelligence to produce this, what came before it? If you have an energy that is stationary, right, that's locked within solid, liquid, and gas and plasma, something is missing from that equation. Because in order for you to take something and make it stationary, that means that it had to, first and foremost, the energy had to be in motion, constantly moving without boundaries. When you put something stationary and you start to compose it within a material frame, it's like you're locking these atoms into a material frame, aka the material world. You're locking the atoms in. You are doing these things and producing them so they could stay locked into this material frame, right? So you would have to do something or take away something to lock it in. You would have to, in other words, if I want to, I'm going to just use this as an example. If I want to domesticate a wild animal, stop the animal from moving all over the place, right? I take it in and I put it in a cage or in a zoo and I cage it in. I confine it, right? I confine it to a space, a stationary space, so it becomes domesticated. That is the creation of the atom. All right? That is the creation of the atom. Something that is made stationary over time. Something that is made stationary over time, something that is made to be in one place at a time. That was necessary for the three-dimensional realm in which the Amen were creating the humans. Right? The atoms were only created for things in the three-dimensional realm, people, place, and possession. This is why the atom was created. And it was created in a stationary space within this planet. The beginning and the end of life. But it moves still in the rotation. And again, this is a good example of people who asking, is there really life and after death? The atom continues to move, but it moves in a circle in a rotation again, which brings back what I said about life being locked into the three-dimensional realm, whether it's physical life or spiritual life, it is still based on that atom. The energy still is there. So when you're talking about spirit, it's still talking about that atom, that life is locked in the atom. Beneath the atom, they're talking about the quarks, the zeds, the zells, the biats. That represents that spiritual energy that's locked into this earth that the Amen produced first. They produce spiritual energy here as well as physical energy here. And it was all comprised within the atom, because when you see the atom, the atom represents, because they say they could see the atom with the, they could see these atomic particles, pretty much with the naked eye, their little instruments. But then as they start to split the atom, right, it starts to be less and less visible, but they can still see, they pick up the energy. That's the spirit energy I've been talking about. That's the spirit energy. Right? That's why this goes hand in hand when you talk about spirit and the quarks, the zeds, the zells, the biats, and whatnot. The thing that separates that energy or keeps it stationary from that energy that is constantly moving or constantly in motion is the solar projection. Right? See, the liquid is there as the spiritual base of the energy. The gas is there as that's all there within atoms. That's what keeps it spiritualized and whatnot. The solid part is the actual atom that you see. When you start getting going down deeper into the parts of the atom, from the solid to the liquid to the gas and all this other stuff, that's when you start going from your solid atoms to your quarks, to your zeds, to your zells, to your biats, until you start getting into pure energy. But it's locked in this three-dimensional realm. It is locked in. It was created and locked in for a reason, right? And it cannot leave off of the three-dimensional realm. It stays locked in as spirit energy. So when you hear people talking about seeing apparitions and spirits and things like that, bringing it into a so-called scientific explanation, you're seeing quarks, zeds, zells, biats, all these different low forms of energy past the atom or on a lower level of the atom, as just energy. When you start to break it down past the physical part of it, and you start getting into the gases of it. right? When you get into the part of it where there's less matter, where the matter is gone, and just the energy's there. That's what they call spirit. See? Spirit is not, they just use the religious terminology, but what separates that and what came before that was the Ahmenic energy. It was the Ahmenic energy that created the atomic energy, right? And the creation of humans on Earth, right? Which comes from a watered down version of the solar projection that was here on Earth, the first life that was here that came through us. Again, we had all of those things, right? The plasma, the gas, the liquid, and the solid. But the thing that separated us as the Ahmenic energy was the solar projection of the sun, or the fact that we were projected from the sun, and we already have that solar plasma. We have all these things, which when we have that projection of the sun that moves through us, which gives us soul. That's what differentiates our movement from the Ahmenic movement, from the atomic movement. This is why, if you notice, we move different than everybody else here, these so-called black people. So, again, if atoms dictate your movement, because atoms are particles of energy, if they dictate your movement, energy dictates your movement, and if we move different from everybody, then obviously there's a different element there that's not in everybody else. There had to be a different energy source that was there before they added. There had to be. It couldn't be atomic beings creating other atomic beings. There had to be a massive super energy or super power, right? A super energized power that produced the atoms. A thinking power, a living power. And that's what you got in your atom. Your atom is a secondary form of energy. The first form of energy is Ahmenic energy. It is Ahmenic. Now, I know people say, oh, where you get that from, brother? I'm only saying that, and I'm using that term Ahmenic because that is the Amen race. The atomic energy is for your animals, your humans, your plant life, and things that were created here onto this earth. That's what your atomic energy is. All right? That is what your atomic energy is. So, and knowing that, we carry that, and then you got certain, how I want to say, animals and whatnot, whose atomic energy is a little higher, and they'll find this out that's a little higher than your human energy, because again, a lot of the animals that were produced here were part of a projection from someplace else. So they have that natural solar projection in them as well. And they were genetically spliced. Now, that was your early reptilians. Your early reptilians, they had more of that Ahmenic energy in them. Your early reptilians, right? They wasn't really composed of atoms. They had more of a Ahmenic energy in them. Right? This is why they grew to the heights they grew, and they had speed and power and things like that, because they had to be made extra powerful to do the work on the earth. So they were moving off of Ahmenic energy, not atomic. Atomic came later when they started to genetically modify the reptilians that were here, and they started to break them down, and then they took the clones of our people. We took the clones of our people and started genetically modifying everything, making everything smaller. When you started to make everything smaller, what they did was they cut the solar energy or the solar projection of that Ahmenic energy, and then they started to splice and produce an atom. In other words, they watered down the Ahmenic particle. They watered it down. The scientists will talk about this advanced or super particle. They won't call it Ahmenic, but they will talk about it over time. They know that there's another form of another chemical element that's here that predates or is older than or came before the atomic energy. They know it. They have to know it, because again, if somebody puts something together, right, if these things are put together in an order, that means that an advanced thinking being or advanced thinking beings had to put it together, and they couldn't be on the same order. They couldn't be on the same frequency. They couldn't be on the same form of energy as the creation that they put out. The creation is always going to be much lesser or lower than that who created it. So obviously they had to be moving on a totally different energy. See? So even in the explanation of soul and spirit, I told you the soul is the first, spirit is the second. The soul is the first, the spirit is the second. The Amen are the first, the humans are the second. The atomic energy is locked into this planet. Yeah? And it can only go and revolve in the three-dimensional realm. And when it passes on, it will move in spirit energy here. It will become those quarks, those Zs, those. So when you see, like, when people telling you about, oh, they see apparitions of a spirit energy or a ghost or whatever the case may be, and it constantly stays here, it stays here because you're watching quarks and Zs and Zels and bias, because these things do show themselves. They do show themselves as gases. These ghosts are nothing, or this, apparitions you see as ghosts or spirit energy, whatever you want to call it, it's nothing but gas. It's gas. It is no longer inhabiting a physical body. So it moves through the earth as gas. Right? It moves through the earth as gas. Right? Not even really as solid is going. The physical body it's been separated from the physical body upon death. It's not even really liquid. It's not even liquid anymore. But gas is a dense form of liquid. Right? Because in order for you to get liquid, you have to have hydrogen and oxygen, right? H2O. You have to have those gases in place. So gas is a more dense form or lighter form of liquid. Liquid is a more solid form of gas. So when you're going from plasma to gas to liquid to solid, right? When you're going from there, and then when the energy leaves the body, and the energy becomes liquid and gas and whatnot, and it starts to move about, that is the atomic energy that is the quarks, the Zs, the Zels, and the bias that are beneath the physical atom that you see displaced and that's moving through the planet. They release these energies into the planet and whatnot because they're supposed to move in a constant rotation. That's how the atom moves. Look at the movement of the atom. And they always showing you the atom doing a circle around and whatnot, so that's showing you that the atom is not really moving anywhere. It's caught in a magnetic field. The atom is caught in a magnetic field, and it's supposed to stay within that magnetic field within the three-dimensional realm. All right? That's how the Amen made it. They made it to stay within that field. All right. Let me go ahead and take quick calls. 901, you're on there.
Hey, the Ahmenic atom that you're talking about explained the quantum physics observations, and pretty much with the observation, they call it a theory, but what they're observing is when electrons go through a light, it can either act as particles or waves, but when they start to measure it or observe it, it either becomes particle or wave. So right now they're trying to understand how and what is this observation that makes it either a particle or a wave.
You said they're trying to figure out. So could they explain?
Yeah. So when they get a light, with a beam, they beam these electrons. It's a light, and then when they beam it, it acts as if it's a particle or a wave. But as soon as they measure it, meaning to observe it, right, it's either a particle or a wave. So they trying to understand, how the fact of observing something changes it to a station particle or a wave. Because when they're not looking at it, it's either both. But when someone looks at it, it's a particle or a wave. It doesn't act the same. So they're trying.
You said, I keep trying. You said it's a particle or wave. We said four waves. Or
yeah, wave is how light works. It comes in when you measure it. Well, when you measure it, it comes in particles come in straight, but waves come in different associations. So how light works, a light reflects and it hits, it spreads out. But when you throw something, it goes direct. So they're saying when they measure these electrons. Before measuring it, when they're looking at it, doing an experiment, it acts as both particles and waves. But then when they measure it, meaning looking at it, it's either a particle or a wave. So a lot of so-called quantum physics, they're kind of trying to understand how when you observe something, it changes its nature. Like, what is the fact of me seeing it change the nature for me being a particle or a wave? So I was seeing, could that explain what you're saying about the Ahmenic atom? I believe that's what you referenced it as, because they can't really explain it.
Well, the reason
it's called a quantum observation if you want to look it up.
Okay. Well, that explains it. The reason why, because you're saying they see it and it splits it. It like appears a different way when they see it as opposed to when
exactly.
Reason being is because, and I said this before, when Caucasians, Asians, all these type of people, when they look at stuff, they see things different. They're not going to admit this, but when they look at stuff, they see things way different than how we see things. Like visually, like physically, what we see is not what they see, and what they see is not what we see. We see far more. So I guarantee you, if you had just scientists or whatnot who were so-called black scientists looking at it, they would see it exactly as it is. Because again, ours from theirs. You see.
Yeah, I guess that could even explain the whole little experiment from their point of view, by saying, because we do look at things differently, because they might see it as a particle, or we might see it as a wave, or from how the person that observes it changes that reality of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because their vision is limited. You see, again, this is why I say our people have to get into these things and start studying these things and looking at the science, going for ourselves, because just in looking at things, we're going to see a lot more that they can't see. They're only going off of what they can see, what they can observe, because all science is observation. That's all it is. They observe atoms and whatnot, and they observe these chemical compounds and whatnot, and they're off in a lot of things. They know that there's an extended energy source or an energy field that's beyond the atom. They know it, and they're trying to figure it out. But it's an extended energy form, and that's the atomic particle. the Ahmenic particle. Yeah, not the atomic particle. The atomic particle was produced here in the three-dimensional realm. But like I said, you have those who produced it, right? They're moving. They're moving in a whole different other energy field. The ones who produced it.
Okay.
Right.
Because the fact they even called it an atom is how they're seeing it. How they're, they use the word to call it that because that's how they're seeing it. Pretty much, we're just saying. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. We'll take another call. 708. 708. 708, you're on the line. Okay, 708, you might have to call back. All right. So, again, this is all based on observation, which you can see, right? And again, this is like logic, and don't wait on them to explain things to you, because again, their understanding of things, the human understanding will always be limited, all right? And again, a lot of our people are tapped in to the atomic energy. They're tapped into it, you see, and they have become a part of the atomic energy. And the reason why a lot of the people who were cloned here and those who were created here was tapped into the atomic energy is because they were meant to constantly move in a rotation. See, the whole point of the Ahmenic energy being present or starting to show itself here, to always lie dormant in here, and this energy lies dormant, the Ahmenic energy or the Ahmenic particles, is so that the elect would eventually advance and become or show themselves in certain bodies or certain vessels to guide and lead the world or lead the planet or be the rulers of the planet of those who are part of that atomic energy force field. Again, this is energy leading other energy overseeing or overrunning other energy. Because again, when this solar projection takes place, they know that it has to go into and harness the vessels of certain people that are here. Who is it more likely to harness the vessels of? The people who have the strongest genetic here, or the people who have the weakest or the recessive genetic here. Your humans are nothing but recessive genetics all over the place. That go for your East Indians, your Caucasians, your Asians with the animal hair. They are creations and they are compounds. They all move off the same energy. The animals, the humans, the plants, the trees, all of them move off of the same energy. Even the so-called clones of our people, they move off of the same energy as well. They move off and carry the same limited energy as well. So now certain people were born with that connection to the first energy that was here, the atomic energy, the Ahmenic energy, or the Ahmenic connection through that solar projection. Certain ones are going to channel into it. Certain ones are that's going to key on in certain people. Everybody's not going to carry that power, that energy. And it is the extension of energy particles in the body that make you up, right? Your ability to move faster, to think faster, right? Which is ignited by the projection of the sun onto the planet. Because with each time frame, the projection of the sun becomes more intensified and it ignites the Ahmenic energy field in certain people. Like I said, you ask yourself, why are certain people more advanced in their movements and their thinking and whatnot than others? Why are certain people, again, obviously if certain people carry a dominant genetic, and this is something that so-called black people still don't get. I don't know if they slowly get it, but we are the most dominant people on the planet. We are the most dominant people on the planet, and we move different from everybody else. But again, this goes to show you that obviously we have to move on a different energy. We're not on the same energy as everybody else. And again, the humans remind you of that all the time. Everything goes off of energy. When you come amongst people, they read your energy. Why is it that, and I go back to the racism thing again. Just, as I'm going into this with the atomic energy. If it was a dark thing, a light thing, or whatever the case may be, why is it that the East Indians were just as dark as us? Why are they accepted by the Caucasians and the white man? Why are they accepted by these people as the same, and they don't give them any problems, but they give us the problem? That's energy. It has nothing to do with color. It's energy. We carry a different kind of energy in us, and they can feel it. And they don't like it because they fear it. I told you they don't see you, and they don't pick up the energy the way you pick up the energy from each other. Our energy, because we are dominant beings, right, they know it's a different kind of energy. It's not the same atomic energy as theirs. It is not the same atomic energy. You see? And again, they already know this already, but they're not going to say it. They're not going to let you know, but they've already let the cat out the bag that we are dominant in our genetic structure. Your scientists who are just going to deal with just straight logic and reality, they're going to tell you that we are dominant beings. So therefore, we must have a dominant energy force that moves through us that is different from the humans. It's key that we know this. And it's key for those who are receiving this so that you don't mix your seed with the recessive genetic. Because then you drop your physical field into that atomic energy field. And the atom is weak. The atom is weak. The atomic energy or the atomic particles are weak. Why? Because they were created here. And they are created in a viral atmosphere. Because they're mixing with other forms of energy. They're mixing with lesser and lower energy. Like I said, the humans and your animals are walking viruses. Really, your humans. They're walking viruses because they got too much different genetic material moving through them, which makes them recessive. And take another call.
Hello.
7-0.
I apologize about that earlier. Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I apologize about that earlier. I couldn't quite get the speaker correct, but I just want to call in. I was listening to you about with the solar energy, and you just right on the head with it, and it just all sound so enlightened. So I should say enlightened. Calm down before I get myself together. But the solar energy, me and my brother was having a conversation about this yesterday. It's funny how you bring this up. because my brother all spirit out, he's all spiritual and all this, and he always talks about spirit this, spirit that. And, you know, I tell him how, like, why would you go with spiritual energy and not solar energy? We all supposed to be like soul. Well, not we all, but we solar people by nature. Anything that was dealing with soul was always talking about so-called black people. When you even talking about movies, they put it in movies like Soul Plane with Kevin Hart, or Soul Man with Bernie Mac, the last movie he played in when he died. What black people eat, soul food. We used to call each other soul brother. What's up, soul sister, soul brother, whatever. Soul Train with Don Cornelius, one of the greats. You know? So anything that was associated with soul was always associated with us. So he tried to make it seem like, well, everybody got a soul, and you get to the soul through the spirit. And I told him, no, those are two separate energies, because the spirit energy is lunar energy, and that's connected with the moon. That's lunar energy. What I was telling him is connected with the moon, and solar energy is connected with the sun. Now, the sun dictates the moon. So solar energy, that's a weaker energy. Why would you want to play into that energy and not tap into your solar energy? You know, and he always tried to wrap it back around, because he's programmed to a certain degree as well. And he always tries to wrap it around to like, oh, you get to the soul through the spirit. I tell him no, because you're going to be into these liquor stores, what you see, wine, liquor, and spirits. So I told him, just like you got, it's some good spirits out there, but you open yourself up for, like I heard you say before, demonic energy, evil demonic spirits. You never heard of no evil demonic solar energy. It's just solar energy is what it is, solar energy, and it can't be corrupted. And as you said before too, and if you tap into that, it can open up your eyes to a lot of more things, and you'll start seeing things clearer than others. And you will be like, that'll come so simple to you, and it'll be so baffling to others to see it that way. And then I used to always, you know, speaking on myself now, I used to always wonder why, like, I seen things a different type of way than a lot of people that was around me at the time that I was growing up in my life. And when you talk on your broadcast about how these spirits, some people call it aura. You see people aura on them. But I can sense people, like, when they enter that spiritual energy. Like, I can see when they nasty, they disgusting, they thoughts are nasty. I can feel it on them. Like, some people got a dingy, gray aura to them, and I heard you speak on that before, and you was writing exact on that as well. And it's like a color that glows off them. And some people are very dim, and that let me know they in that spiritual, like, you know, they're in the spiritual state where they, like, very depressed. And 9 times out of 10, when they open their mouth, they're going to say exactly what I think they're going to say, some more depressing shit. Like, oh, this and that. You know, so I just really want to just, like, call in, just speak on that, like, and say, like, how you just write and exactly you on the head with that. And I experienced that myself.
Yeah, well, like I said, your brother, like I said, just like a lot of black people, this is why, like I said, a lot of black people think like that, and they think that the spirit and the soul is supposed to be in alignment, because a lot of these so-called black people, they're out of alignment with that, you know, with that soul connection. They're out of alignment with it, so therefore they are entangled in that spirit energy. They don't have no soul. The mass majority of so-called black people, they don't got no soul anymore. They going, the soul is gone.
Facts. Because
his soul is going, man. And you see how the white man, I'm going to show you this. It's no coincidence that the white man has done away with the word soul. People ain't even realizing that.
Yes.
See, because they knew that at a certain point, they done did away with the word soul. You notice they took Soul Train on
mind, body, and spirit now.
Soul, anything dealing with soul and so-called black people, they done did away with that. You notice that?
Correct. I
because
have.
What they
like
realized,
everybody, it used to be mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, because what they realized is, they realized that eventually, the more and more we see the difference in us, because the white man, he's busy trying to make it seem like we all the same, because they need to mesh in with us again to get that charge to go forward. But but the more, but they had to take away the soul thing, because they, like you said, they the ones that was calling us soul beings and solar people and soul this and the fire and things like that. They saw that in us, because that's how they see us, as soul beings, as fiery beings, as beings, excitement, carry a certain energy with them, a high level of energy. That's how they see us, and that's really what we are. So now what they've done is they're trying to water that down in us to make us mesh in with them, because more and more we acknowledge that we are different, that we are dominant genetic, and that we carry a solar energy in us, a solar projection in us. Then we would start to know that we carry a different energy force field. We can't be part of the atomic makeup, which we obviously not. We're not what they are. So again, then that would put us in alignment. Then we would stop mixing our seed, wanting to be like them. Then it puts you in alignment, the higher of who you really are. Because once you acknowledge what you are not, before you acknowledge who you are, you have to acknowledge what you are not.
What you're not.
We are not what they are, and they know that. You see, but it's like people like your brother. It's millions of people like your brother out here who think like that, and that's why, again, the separation got to be made with the so-called black race, because they the ones that want to be weighed down with the Caucasian and the rest of the humans.
And I totally agree with that. And I really do believe, like, a lot of times people are just converted because the beast got away, because he always throwing spirit on you. Every time you turn around, you are hearing spirit on TV, whether you hear it on the radio. He always put it in there subliminally and try to slip it in there, that word spirit. So when you go to try to, like, figure out a word to express yourself, on like the energy you feel going through you, you're gonna go to spirit, because you constantly getting that word shoved in your head. And like you said, they did away with the word soul. You very rarely ever run across soul now, and like you say, it was also a purpose.
I pay attention to things like this. I pay attention to this. They are not saying the word soul, and at one point they was trying to associate soul with white people. Now they don't.
Exactly. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Correct. I done seen that as well. Some white people said, "Oh, we got soul." Where at?
Yeah. Well, they like I said, from what they took from niggas, that's what they getting it from. What they took from so-called black people, getting mixing in with them, because again, they always trying to pick up the energy of our people. So they try to move off of our energy, because again, that soul energy is what keeps things moving. That primary Ahmenic energy is what keeps things moving. The same way you said that the sun gives energy to the moon, because the moon has no light of its own. The brightness of the sun, the moon got light because of the brightness of the sun. It's the reflection of the sun. So again, these humans are the reflection of us. So they know that if they're the reflection of us, that energy and their power is really drawn from us. They don't have no power of their own. It's drawn from us.
And they're the creation. They're not the projection. So the sun will tell the truth at the end of the day, because since they are the creation and not the projection, they can't take on solar energy. They take on too much of it. It turns to skin cancers, and before you know it, they got skin problems. They're peeling all over the place. When like me speaking on myself now, I never wore sunscreen a day in my life, and I done been in the sun all of my life. I done traveled. I done been to a lot of hot places with hot climates, and I never had no problem with the sun. And people would be amazed, like, "Oh, you don't know wear some white people, "Oh, you never wear no sunscreen." I say I don't need it. I don't need it, because our skin, the sheens that come out of my skin and that come out of our skin, because all black people don't got this, like you said in one of your broadcast as well. Some black people are unfortunately just what that is, black people, and they won't see this.
They're clones. They're clones, and they move on the spiritual energy of the beast. In fact, a lot of these clones are scheduled to be destroyed by the beast, mixed in with the beast. And like I said, they're going to be destroyed right with the beast, because again, this is not, they have to be converted in, because the new human race is mulatto human race. So the blacks got to go in there, the whites got to go in there, the Asians got to go in there. A little bit of everything has to go in there to keep that atomic energy going, because the atomic energy is getting weaker and weaker. You see, and that's why they say, the last people in power are going to be the people out of power, because again, power means measurement, judgment, all these things, the ability to do these things, and your so-called humans are losing it. This is why, like I said, you see all kinds of unnatural things here. The unnatural shows that these people are losing their mental focus and the ability to continue forward, because again, that is Ahmenic that is an Ahmenic view to see forward and to keep a certain law. Your humans can only see forward to a certain extent because they are the recessive genetic. They are secondary people. That's why they do their time in seconds. They are second. Their energy is secondary. Their energy is secondary. They're trying to find a way right now to convert. They're trying to find a way. This is why they do all these experiments on so-called black people, or you see them, doing all this kidnapping black people and whatnot, because they're trying to find a way to convert the genetic material of so-called black people, especially mentally, that they're trying to find a way to convert the energy of the so-called black people into them, to keep them living long. And that's really why they do these experiments on black people. They take your blood, they really separate the plasma and take the plasma from the blood. They really want the plasma, not the blood. They want the plasma inside of it because they want to use it for themselves.
And my thing is how you can see this so clearly, and other people can see this so clearly when you're describing these things. And certain people, you can tell them these things, and you can show them these things, and it's just like no, that ain't real. This ain't real. That ain't real. You can't be too caught up on these things. You all into the
brother,
conspiracy.
Listen. The hell with the black race. All right, the hell with the black race. If your brother part of the black race, the hell with your brother too, man. The hell with the black race. These niggas that believe in the white man, that the white man have been lying to these stupid niggas over and over and over again. But then when you trying to say something that you bring wake them up, and this ain't even on no racial thing. This ain't even about race. Again, because they don't even know what race is. Race is them showing you that you're not part of the human race. So when they're racist against you, that goes for the East Indians, the white man, the East Indians, the Asians, the Caucasians. The reason why they all come together against us is because they are of the human race. We're not of the human race. We are of the almond race. We came before them. So they're always going to be afraid that our energy, our genetic makeup is going to overtake them. They know that. That's why they always got to try and keep our people down, because they know that if we figure out and realize who we are, then we're going to go ahead and just take back over, or take over going forward again how we had it. The dominant will always dominate the recessive. That's how it works.
And I believe that's the key. First, you have to see yourself, and first you got to start really thinking on that level, because it's hard for people to think on that level continuously when you got all this junk information constantly getting thrown in your face and shoved in your mind. So it's hard to constantly continuously think on that level. But when you get to a point you can constantly continuously think on that level, you'll see them for exactly what they are. Like you'll look like things you used to look at.
Listen, let me tell you something. It don't even matter if black people, whether they acknowledge it or not, they ain't going to do a goddamn thing about it. They just going to go, okay, that's deep and that's it. The whole point of learning this is to come together with our people collectively as one body, so that we become stronger and strengthen our minds and tap forward. And I don't want to say tap back, but tap forward into our energy, our Ahmenic energy. That's the whole point of me teaching this, is for our people to come together and tap forward into that Ahmenic energy flow that is going to extend us on an even greater level. That's coming. And I keep telling people that when you start seeing certain people who have the command of levitational lift, have the command of mental power, because that's all coming in this mental wave, in this tsunami of and flares of solar projection that are going to come through this planet. It's going to elevate certain people who are on a certain level, and certain people are going to just be destroyed, man. That's what's coming with this. So if the so-called black race don't want to accept it, the hell with the black race, man. They ain't slated to evolve. The hell with them. They clones anyway. But listen, brother, thank you for calling in.
Thank you as well. Thank you for having me.
All right, brother. All right, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to be right back. I see you, 912. I'm going to get your call in a second, 912. But I love science people who really say, oh, this sound like some pseudoscience, or he sound like he making this up. You know, you simple-minded people who say stuff like that, I'll read you from the white man who y'all was talking about. Y'all love science, who y'all worship so much. I'll read what your white scientists say about atoms. I'll go even further. See, because you got to learn you don't even really know what y'all read. The white man telling you right there. Y'all don't even really know what you read. These white scientists telling you, but y'all too stupid. All you niggas do is just, and this all you so-called science people, all y'all do is just read what these Caucasian scientists and all these other scientists say and repeat it. Y'all don't even really know what they saying. Let me read to you, explain to you what this means. Every atom is composed of a nucleus and one or more electrons bound to the nucleus, meaning connected to the nucleus, meaning it can't be moved. The nucleus is made of one or more protons and a number of neutrons. Protons and neutrons, that's the positive and negative. Do they not say this proton and neutron is acting on the positive and negative? Only the most common variety of hydrogen has no neutron, right? What is hydrogen? Hydro is a form of oxygen that produces water. You know what I'm saying? Hydrogen is really water in a dense state. Protons and neutrons are called nucleons, right? More than 99.94 of the atomic mass is in the nucleus. So the nucleus is the cell. It's bound by the cell. What do you call your things that make up your genetics, your cells, right? It's bound. Bound is a way of saying put inside something. Bound to the nucleus. Protons have positive electric charge. There you go. Positive and negative. Positive electric charge, whereas electrons have negative. Did I not say it works off positive and negative? Did I not tell you about the polarities here? Right? And that it is really a breakdown of that which is higher, which moves off of one continuous flow of power and energy, which is the solar projection. That's the solar projection. The difference between the Ahmenic energy, right, and the atomic energy is that the Ahmenic energy was projected here onto the earth. And this is where your Amen came, the first life of our people came. We were projected energy force fields here. The atomic energy was constructed here. It was created. This is why your scientists could go in and see how it's put together. They looking at it, their observation again. Their observation. They can go in and see the building blocks of the atom. They go look through their little microscopes and things like that, and they splice in the atom, and they splicing it, and they're seeing that it is a construction, that it is put together. Hello, they letting you know it's put together. So if it's put together, that means somebody had to put it together. You see? And it had to be somebody that wasn't working on the same atomic energy things they put together. You see? That tells you that. It was streamed here. The Ahmenic energy is streamed here. The atomic energy is constructed. You see? One came by way of light and fire. The other came by way of matter and, gases and things like that. That's the difference. Ours is extendable by solar projection. Theirs is limited by the water that is created in their creations on this planet. That's what atomic energy is always going to be, limited energy. It will only move in the flow of the circle of this planet. It will move in the circular rotation of this planet, meaning the rotation, not circle, because this planet is not a circle, it's a square, but the rotation is the way that the moon rotates. The way the moon's energy rotates the waters here on this planet, because the moon is in rotation, but the sun is not, and neither is the earth. The moon rotates the water. It's like a spin cycle. The moon, the magnetism of the moon and the water, it keeps the waters flowing in a circular rotation. And it's how these humans and these animals and everything moves there in a circular rotation as part of that atomic force, or as part of those atomic particles. They move in a rotation. Do I make myself clear? Do I make myself clear? They all move in a rotation. That's why, if you notice, that's why they say stuff like there's nothing new under the sun. Why do you think they say that? Because they know that, they say stuff like that because they know instinctively that everything in the world was created in a rotation for them. So whatever they do from the start, they're going to do to the finish and come back around in the rotation again. That's why they do it. The only thing that can break that current, the only thing that can break that atomic current or that atomic energy is the Ahmenic energy or the Ahmenic current, because the Ahmenic current extends things. It can break time, stop time, move time, add things into time, like as in out of the blue. Add things into time, take things out of time, place them back or forward into time again. And that's how we come forward and we come out of time and we come forward into time because they pull us in as energy and pull us out. Let me take a call. 912. 912. You're on the air. 912, 912. Going once, going twice, going the third time, fourth time. Nope. Gotta call back. So that's how that works. They created a rotation of atomic energy here. The atomic energy works in a rotation and a stationary rotation. That's why they show you that, and they can see the construction of it. They're trying to figure out what energy or what power constructed the atom. The atom didn't just come together, they just start growing. It's like they say the stupid nonsense. They talk about what an atom, you get to that and it grew into this and it grew into that. No. You're looking at a construction, a artificial construction that took place here on Earth. The atom was not created off of the planet. It was created on the planet. It was not projected here. It was created here. Okay? Because if it was projected here, you would see, they would tell you that the visual, there would be solar, they would have to say that a solar ray or some form of solar energy would be present in the atom. It's not there. It's charged by it, but it's not there. You see, because if it was there, it would be part of the projection. It's not. The way the sun gives light to the sun gives light to the moon, which causes a rotation in the moon, which really the rotation is just for the movement of the water on the planet. You see, that's what the rotation is. The rotation is just the movement of water on the planet. It is not actually the planet rotating. That's a lie. The planet is not rotating. This is right from Mentellect right now. The water on the planet, this is coming right now, transmission coming right now. The water is rotating on the planet, not the actual planet. The planet's not rotating. It's a square and it's a cube, and it is receiving that. And in the cube and in the square, the planet, the moon rotates by way of the power of the sun. The moon rotates and rotates the water on Earth. That's what keeps the flow of water. The flow of the water rotates, right? And it can cycle in and cycle out. Okay, it can be converted into steam and things like that, and it can be condensed back into gas. And it can go back and turn into water again, as in precipitation and rain and things like that. This is a system that the Ahmenic set up, and that's all part of the atomic system. It's a system that's set up. It's a system of circular energy that moves in the three-dimensional realm on Earth. Do I make myself clear? You see? The tides, exactly. The tides are pulling in circles. Right? They pull in circles, even though they seem like they pull and they going straight. They not. They pull all in circles because they always going to meet back up. That's why when they say that the water seeks its level, the reason why the water seeks its level because it's moving in a rotation. Your scientists will tell you this in the future, but they'll call it something else, and they won't. Of course, they ain't gonna give me credit for it. They'll tell you it's something else. Because all you got to do is read it. They see their observations are limited, but their observations tell you a bit, because all their observations do is tell you the limit, the level in which they understand what they're seeing. They don't totally understand. That's why when the young lady came on here, they said they see stuff, and I said this before. They see things, and they said that how they visualize and what they're seeing is different than what the measurement is. You see, meaning that their reception as atomic beings is always going to be off. Their reception as atomic beings are going to be off. All your humans are atomic beings. You see, meaning they have a start and a finish. You see, their frequency is always going to be off. Their vision is always going to be recessive. They're not going to see what you can see. All right? The reason why we see further and we see more extended, because some of our be nasty down to some. That's why we come with the term elect, because many of our people have that extended solar projection where we can see things. We have those dominant senses where we can see things, see beyond things, see into things, see beyond these things and whatnot that they can't see. And again, this is not some thing of vision and glasses and things like. I'm talking about mentally connected to see into these things. What mentally stands out to you when you see things, because how you're connected mentally and the projection that streams through your mind is based on what genetic makeup and elements you are made of and what you can see. Because I said, our people who are of the elect, it's going to come to light in your children and those who are the elect that our genetic material is different. Our atomic, our energy makeup is different from the human energy makeup. You see, and they know that we was going to figure this out over time. They knew we weren't going to, a lot of our people too stupid to see this. You see, they knew we would figure it out over time. Thus, your Bill Gates talking about blocking out the sun. If any one of these so-called scientific people who love science so much can tell me why Mr. Bill Gates wants to block the sun out, then we can discuss this even more. Because for those who claim what I'm saying is pseudo, let your scientists, your white scientists you believe in say it. They'll tell you right there. They'll tell you right there. And they're going to reveal even more, as I'm going to reveal even more. We'll be right back.
Okay. Now, I'm going to explain this even, I'm going to break it down even more to whereas nobody can even, dispute this. I said that the water is spinning on the planet, not the actual planet. The planet is stationary and extending itself, and the water rotates here. All things in an atom, all the particles in the makeup in the atom are in a spin form. They are in a spin form because they are controlled by lunar frequency. Lunar frequency is powered by the sun. All power on Earth, even the moon's power, which the sun gives the projection, the charge to the moon through brightness, and converts the moon converts into light, which carries that energy into the planet, which rotates everything that's in or carries atomic energy. It rotates everything here. It rotates the water. It rotates the people. It rotates the movement of the people. Everything is rotated here. That's why your humans say there's nothing new under the sun, because they work on a rotation that is governed by the moon. Their atomic particles, the atomic energy in them moves in a rotation. That's how it's produced. That's why they'll say, and it works in a magnetic pulsation. It's magnetically bound to the into a nucleus. It is magnetically bound, right? And it is controlled by the moon or the pulling of the tides, because your humans are made of water. They're made up of water, so the same tides that's pulled, the same tides that the moon pulls on Earth in rotation is the same way humans are pulled, because they all made of atoms, all right? They are bound to the Earth. We, as the Ahmenic, some of us now, are not bound by that same atomic energy, because we don't have atomic particles in our body. We have Ahmenic particles, which are bound, I should say not even bound, but they are charged by the sun. They're charged by solar projection, right? They're charged by solar projection. Now, let me. Now, when I said about the magnetic pull in which these atoms are in that constant rotation, like I said, they show you the rotation of the particles in the atom going around the atom. The protons and neutrons, all that, they're evolving around, moving, rotating around the atom. And I said they're bound together, they're held by a magnetic pull, right, that keeps them from flying out of order. Right? Flying out of the order they were put in. Now look what it said. The electrons of an atom are attracted to the protons in the atomic nucleus. When I talk about the atomic nucleus, the nucleus is the building block in which the Ahmenic were putting all of these particles together, and they were powering them through the movement of and the projection of the sun, which went through the moon, and the moon started rotating these things. You see what I'm saying? Because the moon represents to the humans and to the atomic particle, that is alternating current. That is alternating current. Lunar frequency is alternating current, but it receives its power directly from solar current. Solar current is direct current. Lunar current is alternating current. because it keeps moving everything in a circle. The direct current is a straight linear charge or shot to that, and only certain people are going to get that. They have to have that Ahmenic particle makeup. The electrons in the atom are attracted to the protons in the atomic nucleus by electromagnetic force. Electromagnetic force. What is the electromagnetic force? The electromagnetic force is that lunar current that keeps all of these things in motion. That's why they tell you in the beginning that it had solid, liquid, gas, plasma. All of these things carry that control in a circle or in a circular unit in that in the nucleus of in the nucleus. In that place, and it spins by way of that lunar frequency that is coming by way that's being pushed from the sun through the moon to control the rotation of all these things on the planet that carry atomic energy. All right? Those who carry Ahmenic energy, those are the ones who are not going to move in the same current. They're not going to move in that current. They're going to move beyond the current. They're going to move beyond the circle because they're projected to do so. We carry different forms of motion and movement. Do I make myself clear? It's how you know the different movements. All right? This is how you know the different movements in the motion. All right? Because motion continuous in a continuous line, real motion. And controlled motion moves in a circle. Controlled motion moves in a circle. It's a limitation to it. All atomic energy has limitations to it. There's limitations. They keep going deeper, and they keep saying they're splicing the atom, going deeper and deeper, and then finding more extended energy fields. But like I said, they're going to keep going until they get the quarks, the zells, the zeds, the bias, and they keep splitting the atom, and they're going to keep going deeper down in it. They're going to just keep seeing more complex energy fields in which it's built on top of. You see? They're just going to keep seeing continuous energy fields. And the reason why they'll see continuous energy fields because it is being still continuously charged by the sun, but the sun uses the moon as a buffer of alternating current to keep it in a rotation. Because if the atom received a solar charge, it would destroy it. The atom does not receive solar charge, right? It receives a lunar charge. That's why the presence of gas is there. The presence of liquid and gas, all that's there. The presence of all that is there in the atom. That's why the humans are made up of solids, liquid, gas, and whatnot. But they lack the soul. They have spirit. The spirit is the water that's in them. We are different because we carry a sun or a central sun called the solar plexus that receives projection. Some of our people. Do I make myself clear? It gives us the ability to levitational rise, exactly, levitational lift. And it gives us power to extended mental capabilities. All right? That's why you got to be careful not to mix your seed with those people who carry at a low frequency, because all it does when you mix with the humans is it cuts the projection of your bloodline, mixing with the humans. And it makes them recessive. That's why you got so many black people on earth who all they know how to do is think that they are atoms or atomic, and they think they're the same as the so-called white man and the rest of these humans, because the reason why they think like that is because they got a lot of human genetics in them. That's why they think they've been mixed down. A lot of these so-called black people have been mixed down so much with the humans that they got a lot of their human genetic bloodline, and that's why they think they're the same. Even when you show them and you logically can see it, they still think they're the same as the humans because they got a lot of human genetic in them, so they identify with that. And they work off of that same lunar current as the humans. A lot of them do have atomic particles that are mixed in with a few, if any, left of the Ahmenic particles. A lot of our people do have, so-called black people have those atomic particles in them. That's why they'll follow the same rotation as the humans. They move in that same lunar frequency with the humans. Okay? That's why that is. You know, and like I said, I dare one of these I Love Science people to come up here and challenge what I'm saying, because you know them I Love Science people, they love they'll say what I'm saying is pseudo, but I'm reading out of their so-called science because, that's all this is. I love science people do. If a white man in a white coat say it and he got a doctor in front of his name, they're going to accept it, not understanding that these people are going off solely off their observation. This is all observation, watching, seeing. Their observation as recessive beings is limited. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You can only go but so much on what they say. Because even a lot of stuff they say, they don't really understand what they're saying. You see, they understand it on a certain level because that's the limitation of those who carry atomic particles within them. There's limitations. Anything that is created has a limitation. You see, and your humans will say they were created. Now they trying to lie. They try to lie and say, we just grew here. Okay, so you grew here, that means somebody had to plant you here or had to create you and put you in a spot to grow. You don't just grow, nothing just grows. You see? Creation, whether they was planted, they was created in the water, right, on earth. They were created and planted into the water to grow. So that's how, and again, when they give you the explanation of all life coming out of water, what do you think that means? That's really them saying out of atomic life. Out of atomic life, when you give the makeup of the atom, they tell you the solid, the liquid is the water, right? The gases. They're telling you about everything here that's on Earth. They are giving you an explanation of the atomic creation. The atom was created here on Earth, and it carries all the elements that are in the Earth here, except for the solar projection that is not from here. That is what links us to the Ahmenic particle, or the Ahmenic particle, the extended particle. That's what makes us faster than them when we move, when we in our right state. We faster, we run faster, we think faster when we're in our right state of mind, when we ain't trying to think like them. We think faster, we run faster, we fight harder. You understand? We're stronger than them. We're more dominant than that. Just goes without saying. So already that means we're going to have a more dominant genetic material and more of a dominant energy flowing through us. Even though a lot of you people get watered down and whatnot, and you get mentally and physically watered down, so you start thinking like you one of them. You see? And then you start moving off that atomic frequency. That's why a lot of these niggas can't get with what I'm saying. They ain't going to be able to get with that. No matter how much I break it down, they're not going to be able to get with it. Because it didn't come from the mouth of a atomic being, one who carries that atomic energy, a.k.a. a so-called white man, or whatever the case may be, or a black man saying what they saying. You see, that's, to them, they're not able, those atomic people, or those atomic beings, they're not able to think past the rotation and the limitations that's what's set for them. That's why it takes a certain person or people who are moving, certain persons who are moving off of that Ahmenic energy to be able to think past the rotation of the atomic energy. You see what I'm saying? See, all this lines up. The ability to think past the rotation of the atomic energy is your connection to the Ahmenic energy. You see? That's your ability to think past the atomic, to move faster than it, to be able to excel beyond it. So, am I making myself clear? I want to make sure. All right? Making sure before I end this off. All right? All right. Just want to make sure. We all clear? All right. So, we'll do further things on this. We're about to end this off. So let me go ahead and answer these questions. What is the difference between Ahmenic energy and atomic energy? Atomic energy is created here on Earth. Liquid, gas, and all these other things. And it is what comprises and makes up the atomic energy in the cells of your humans. Your Caucasians, your East Indians, your Asians, basically those who were created here on Earth. Your animals, right? Genetically modified versions of the reptilians. They all these animals, these humans, the plant life, they all have atom or atomic energy that make up here. They're all made up here on Earth. The
Ahmenic energy is projected from the sun. It was streamed in here. It was not created. It was not constructed here. It was not created here. It was streamed here. And those who are of the elect, we are part of that live stream. We are part of that solar energy, or that solar projected energy, or that Ahmenic energy on Earth. That Ahmenic energy is real. Because again, if it's not, who created the atomic energy? Don't tell me it just grew here or just exploded. Come on, that's BS. Nothing with structure and order just grows and explodes and just happens. That has to be thought out. That has to be put in place. Don't mix me with that BS about, oh, it just came to be and it just grew and, you know, ain't nobody did it. Get the hell out of here with that, man. You're not talking to an idiot. That's like me saying, oh, somebody built that house over here, but it built itself. Nobody built that house over here. It just built itself. It just stacked up the bricks on top. It framed itself out and all that. That's what you want me to. That's what you want me to believe. Only an idiot would believe that. Anything that has structure and a construction to it, just like an atom, means that it had to be put together. And it couldn't be put together by those who want to carry the same energy. It would have to be put together by someone who carries even higher energy. Was atomic energy created? Yes, it was. Here on Earth, constructed and controlled by lunar frequency, which is still controlled by solar projection. Who has the Ahmenic energy? The Ahman race, the elect. Only a chosen few got it. They're waking up to that right now. How do we know who has which one? Again, the ones who are the dominant genetic, they have the Ahmenic frequency, and the ones who are the recessive, which is your humans, they have the atomic energy. And a lot of you so-called blacks, y'all done became humans any goddamn way. So, you know, it don't matter. Let me see. Make sure I got it. All right, I think I answered them all. All right, we're going to close on the name of Amen by the power of Amen. In Amen we trust, in Amen we think, and in Amen we continue forward forever. I am the intellectual NUBEN MENKARAYZZ. This has been Mentellect Radio. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow at 10. All right, good night.
Rising out the black race to the bright race, out the black race to the bright race. It's the public of mentellect, black race to the bright race. If it's hell, then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag.